And now, Jabroni Studios, in association with Big Herm Productions, is proud to present to you, recording from an undisclosed location in Oakdale, Connecticut, it's Chris Bernes, it's Chris Lynch, this is Dysfunction Junction.
Speaking of, look who decided to join us right as I was about to say he's not here. Okay, the band's all here. Guys, it's been a week, and we're just going to throw a bunch of shit against the wall and see what sticks. I say to you, all of you, put your feet up, grab your beverage, take a deep breath, let it out.
Stop touching yourself.
You see where my hands are, right, asshole?
You can't see my hands.
I'm not talking to you.
Okay. And listen for the words you've been waiting to hear for 7 days, and that's welcome to Dysfunction Junction.
Fuck yeah, I'm doing the zombie impression. Mecca lecca high. Mecca
honey ho. My man. My name is Chris Bernes. With me as always, he is the Duck Dynasty King. He is the Possum Beard. He is everything you wanted in a beer and less. He is the co-host with the utmost.
Chris Lynch.
Say your name. Chris Lynch. There you go. And of course, the producer extraordinaire, the man with no hair. And what a fantastic off-air conversation we had, which we will save for tomorrow night because this is not the show for it.
We can continue that tomorrow night. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's Big Herm, Michael P.S. Herman up there.
What is up?
All right. I'm gonna throw this out here now. I've been waiting for days because we have the potluck show tonight. We got a lot of things to go over, but the one thing that piqued my interest is you have a rant about the Olympics, my friend.
Dude,
but before you do that, I have to. There is more. You have something you want to tell the nice folks at home about next week's show. We'll do it now. We'll do it at the back end.
Yeah, we have a really special edition of Dysfunction Junction next week. We have writer, director, Michael Pickle, independent. He's an independent horror producer and writer and director, and he's got a new film out called The Dead Place. We're going to be having him as well as Kelsey. What was it?
Living good.
Kelsey Living Good. She's
very good
throughout the community.
She is
as Mischief the Clown. We're going to have them on the show next week talking about Michael's new movie coming out, what his message in the movie, kind of where he got started, all things dealing with his new movie, and it's going to be a really, really great show.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward, very looking forward to that because horror is right up my alley. So when you told me her name was Mischief the Clown, I'm like, why do I know that? So then I go back into my YouTube
She's been
history.
in a bunch of shit, bro. She's
right, and then I go back in my YouTube history.
Like she
was in a couple things I've watched on YouTube.
Yeah, she was in another movie. There's another person in the movie. I don't have the notes with me in front of me right now, which I'm a dumbass. But one of the ladies in this in The Dead Place, she was Freddy's mom in a previous movie. That I think,
shit.
Yeah, I believe it was she played Freddy's mom. So I'm going to assume it was probably the movie from 2000 and something.
Yeah,
that movie she played Freddy. I don't know. I'm going to assume. I got to look. Don't quote me on it. There's a lot. The guy from Terrifier. Is
Art the Clown.
Yeah. He played Art the Clown. There's some serious names in this guy's movie. Some serious stuff. And we're gonna have him and Kelsey on next week. So yeah, who knows? We could be doing. I would be more than welcome to let their friends all pop in and talk their shit when it's time or for whatever. So
the more the merrier.
So
absolutely. To coin a phrase,
it was all from my friend D.
How'd this happen? Tell us about it.
My friend D, the one that was at the the HorrorCon.
Okay.
You can check her out on Instagram. She is DC Creations on Instagram. She does some great artwork. And she is in deep with these people. She travels from Montana to this show here in Denver. There were some great artists, some great actors. Michael Ironside was there. She's friends with these people and knows people, and she was like, "Hey, would you like?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. What do you got?" And she's like, "He's got a movie, and would you like to have him on your show?" And I'm sure, absolutely. So she set it all up. Booked our second guest with Kelsey, and
Nice.
And away it went. So yeah, it's basically just network and an old friend from Connecticut that I've known for 10, 12 years, her and her husband. So just a great hookup.
Nice. And we're looking forward to that. I know I am. I saw the post
Definitely.
earlier today, and I made it a point to say I'm looking forward to it. Look, I'm the outlier. These guys love horror movies. I'm more of a suspense guy when it comes to that. But dude, anytime you can have someone, my modus operandi going into this, the filmmaking process, and with Kelsey coming in, will be the actress side of it. How do you prepare? How do you do this? How do you do that? You guys are going to talk about. And when was the time you cut that guy's dick off? Not me. I'm be like,
No,
so what
we
angle
can't
did you
say that.
use?
I've already been sent. I've already been sent kind of not what to speak about, but kind of where to guide it, so he can get the
Okay.
message out that he wants.
So
But
this
there
will be
will
Herm's
be,
show next week.
yeah, but there will be plenty of free time. You know
Yeah,
what I
because
mean?
for me, I'm more about how it gets made. I want to know how the sausage is made. I could give a shit about the end product, not being a horror fan, but it will be so tremendous for me to learn the process. That to me is exciting. To you guys, the horror, the story, the this, the that. I'm not a horror guy. I want to know how the sausage is made.
I'm there with you with the process as well, because I mean, think about where I've been and what I've seen through my relationships elsewhere.
Correct.
In filmmaking. I know a lot of that, but it's like I'm more interested in like what was it like working with the guy who plays Art the Clown? Is he just a terrifying fucking person in real life? Like questions like that, because I know you've never seen it, but Terrifier and Terrifier 2 are probably two of the most gonzo batshit horror movies I've seen in the last 30 fucking years. The second one I think was better. It actually had more of a story, and I was pretty surprised by it. The first one, it was like really, really cool for old school gore nuts like me who like practical gore effects, which there was a ton of in both of them. So that's the kind of thing. You know, I'm looking forward to the sausage is made, but I'm also kind of geeking out that it's a horror director.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, if we could get the German guy from the Human Centipede on here, I'd be flipping shit. I am very much looking forward to talking to these two wonderful people next week, right here, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Junction. Don't forget to check it out and tell your friends.
601 if you're Lynch.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the way it is. So, Herm, you got a rant. I've been waiting to hear this.
I a little bit, yeah. I got a really unpopular fucking opinion.
There's a surprise.
There it is. The Olympics need to go fuck themselves and just
whoa. Okay.
Completely done away with. It's the dumbest fucking concept in modern day that there fucking is. All right.
I cannot wait to hear this.
All right. The original Olympics, I understand, you know, Greece and, you know, homoerotic, whatever.
Whoa. Wow, you went south in a hurry.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
All right, but in the modern Olympics really didn't they were done during a different time. And they started during a different time. Then wars happened, World War I, World War II. And and especially and then most effectively and recently the most important job was the Cold War. During all of these wars, they were nothing more than self blowjobs to the country about we're better than you are. But being an Olympic winner, and I know the USA wins a lot of medals, and I'm not saying it detracts. Here's what I'm saying. Germany wins a lot of medals too and has won medals too. They were a bunch of dicks for a long time. Okay? Just because a country wins at a sport that has nothing to do politically with the people and how good that country actually is, it's really just I feel it's unnecessary. Does America become any less of a country if we stop winning the Olympics?
No.
Does it make
No.
us a better country? Other than egotistically, does it make us a better country because we win 124 medals at the Summer Olympics more than anybody else? No. It's literally, it's not even low key. It's a high key flex. I'm better than you. And to be honest, I don't think it's necessary anymore. It doesn't make anybody any better than anybody. Iran wins fucking medals. They're Iran.
So when you mentioned this, I immediately jumped on the bandwagon with you. It's probably the most narcissistic thing.
Very much so. And it's riddled with fucking what's the word? It's like FIFA. It's
snobbery.
Well, it's not just
it really
snobbery.
is. It's like
we're
looking down through the past. We're looking down at everybody else in the world right
dirty.
now.
It's all dirty. It's corrupt. The whole thing is corrupt. And all of the countries look the other way for this Olympic committee system so that maybe hopefully one day they could hold the Olympics in their little spot in the world.
Well, and it's planned out so far in fucking advance nowadays. It's like it's 30 years booked,
and it's paid almost.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I think the locations that they've recently chosen have been better spots to kind of be a good influx in that community's economy. But the other part of that is infrastructure. So everybody's going to start every Tom, Dick, and Harry that has hosted the Olympics or has never hosted the Olympics are waving their flags, going, "Hey, come pick my town, pick my country, because we have the infrastructure to support it." I mean, it's it's all about whose ass do you kiss the most.
Thing is they don't have the infrastructure. Look at Russia the last time they were there. Look at the shit that China has gone through.
Look at Sarajevo.
Look at what happened in Rio. Okay. They have to agree to spend all of this money for all of this space to perform the Olympics. Coliseum.
True.
Okay, the LA Coliseum is one of the only venues that was built for an Olympic event that has ever been used worth of shit afterwards.
Olympic Stadium in Montreal comes to mind as well.
You know
but that's
I mean?
two out of
two out of however many. Some countries have done it twice, and they're still not reusing the same shit.
Atlanta built an entire city within the city limits of Atlanta.
Yes,
and when it was done, tore it the fuck down.
Just wrecked it. It.
What an incredible waste of time, resources, and just people. I mean, yeah, it's great for the couple of years preceding the Olympics where you get local people employed to help build this city, Olympic City. I think it's great. Gets people out of their houses, off their couches, and actually working.
Because the money they make that during those, it comes down to the amount of money they make those 16 days severely outweighs the amount of money that, or on paper, severely outweighs the money they're going to invest to get those 16 days to happen where they are.
No, I'd
Right.
love to
In a
hear
country
an
like
athlete.
China, it costs nothing because they just tell motherfuckers to do what they want, and
Right.
it's not about pay.
I don't know if
Right, it's
she
about you
went to
do
the
it.
Olympics. I don't know if she went to the Olympics or not. I know she was nationally ranked as Taekwondo. My friend Mandy Maloon um, was
Yeah.
a nationally ranked Taekwondo person and was unfortunately part of the Sports Illustrated expose on the sexual assaults that go on when the Olympics and these coaches do their thing. It was in the height of the Larry Nasser thing, and Mandy's been a friend of mine now for 8-9 years. I'd love to get her on to talk about what I had to find out first if she was an Olympian. But second, even if she wasn't, she was training. I'm sure that nobody goes into Taekwondo to train as hard as she did to go, I'm just going to go as far as I can and then work at the Winchell, 5 to 7.
Yeah.
She had a goal in mind, and if that goal was the Olympics, I'd love to know, her take on this. But I can't help but
And
disagree.
this isn't anything. I want to make this clear. While we're talking about an athlete, this has
Sure.
nothing to do with just devaluing the work that the athletes do. Because most of these athletes compete um, in an amateur level, and they're doing it regardless of whether the Olympics happen or not. Now, that is a big goal on a lot of athletes, but you've also got athletes that just compete. Like
Correct.
competing in the amateur ranks is literally, it's either you kind of have two goals. You either are doing it for fun, you
Mhm.
are doing it to get to the Olympics, or you're doing it to get a professional spot on it somewhere.
Right. And
I mean, in my estimation, one of the worst things that the Olympics ever did was basketball. Once they allowed the NBA guys to come in and compete in the Olympics, because let's be clear, the Olympics has always been the best of the best in amateur sports. Now,
Yes,
whether
but
other country,
I don't. Well,
whether, hold on, let me finish. When other countries, I don't know what other countries do. I really don't, and I don't care. That's for them to figure out. It's always been the best of the best in the amateur world to come out and put out their best. As soon as the NBA or as soon as the Olympic Committee allowed the NBA to come in, I don't think we've lost a basketball gold medal since 1992.
well, we haven't, but you've got to realize the reason, and the reason that um professional players can now play their professional sport.
Dollar
Um,
bill.
all right. Well, no, actually, the original reason it started was because when the Olympic, it was one of the few things I feel the Olympic Committee did correctly.
Okay.
See, we have amateurs here, and these poor bastards scrimp and save and eat ramen twice a week, and only twice a week, and that's all they eat. They pay for their own shit. There is no big US Olympic budget. There
Not
is
really.
nobody's covering a fucking thing for these people. The difference is that now, and that was all handled as professionals. The difference is you had countries from the Eastern Bloc, you had countries from Iron Curtain, you had countries that ran their professional sports teams, or I'm sorry, their amateur sports teams for the Olympics, because there wasn't professional sports of a lot of those kinds. All of those teams, Russia, China, North Korea, pick any of those countries anywhere else, those teams are treated like professional athletes.
Mm-hmm.
When you do your stuff in Russia, you don't worry about money. Your money is taken care of. They take care of your family. Your transportation is handled. You're treated like in Russia as an amateur the way that our professionals were treated.
Right.
And that that it was deemed that that level of care that they received because of that basically put them at the level of care and put them at a professional level, because technically everybody was getting compensated, families were taken care of, but it was communist countries, so technically there was no receipt like you would have in America.
Right.
So that's when they started allowing the professional athletes to come in. It started with professional athletes being allowed to compete outside of their sport. And then with the way that it worked, they basically deemed it that way, but that you could be a professional sport player and play in your sport. But I think they got it right when you look at the way that some of those other countries' teams were getting to the Olympics. And that's kind of where that started. It was the trip to get to the Olympics was much more advantageous to a Russian basketball player than it was to a United States amateur basketball player.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I can see the correlation there. But to me, for the rest of the athletes in the other sports, so why don't they do that with baseball? I mean, that's a game that's played here professionally as an organized league, just like the NBA. Why wouldn't they open that up to professional baseball players to play in the Olympics?
I'll give you a reason, because the heart of the Summer Olympics is played right in the middle of the 162 game season that the baseball.
You'll never ever get it. It's look, the fucking the NHL hates every time there's the fucking Olympics. They lose a third of their fucking.
Yeah, they got 3 weeks off where the NHL guys are all split amongst their home countries.
You know, you've got guys
play.
like Tuukka Rask on the Bruins playing for Russia, and you've got, you know, like guys
Astronaut
like
going to check.
You know, right, and like and Brad Marchand is playing for the U.S. team. So like, you lose it. The hockey hates it. They hate every 4 years when they lose a third of their top players in the whole league. It just wrecks the league, and that's the thing. You'll never ever get a baseball player to walk away from his pro job.
Right. Hello, Ryan Springer in the comments. How are you doing tonight, my friend? Goddamn, why is your thumb brown, motherfucker? Got to throw an old joke out to Ryan. Look, professional athletes should not be in the Olympics, in my opinion, and only because of the fact that they're making, if you're a male athlete, and this is where I'm going to leave it, you're making millions of dollars. What do you have to prove? You've already made it. You're at the top level. What are you going to prove by... I am, say, Steph Curry. I'm one of the top basketball players in America, beyond a shadow of a doubt. What do I have to prove by beating some guy from Italy? I don't.
You don't. It's just, you know, it's great for America.
Fantastic, but I'd rather see some schmuck from Illinois get on that court and do it the right way. But then again, the Olympics hasn't been the right way for, I don't know, 30 years.
Oh,
it goes further back. I mean, everybody wants to say, but look, the Olympics are about winning. You can say whatever you want, whatever you enjoy about it, but it's about winning. They're not counting lollipops and gumdrops. It's about winning.
Well, I think, I think you guys know my opinion on this. The privilege, easy for me not to say, the privilege to be at that event for some of those kids is enough, because of where they came from, because they're poor. They're all self-financed. Everything is done on their own backs. There's no huge corporate sponsorships sending their ass to wherever the fuck the Olympics are. They put their blood, sweat, and tears. And winning is just like the ultimate cherry on top. Getting there is to them the grand prize, because they came from nothing and made it to the fucking Olympics. I love those stories.
Sure.
But then you talk about these kids of privilege who went to a really nice school, financed out the wazoo by their parents, you know, and they're always looking down their noses at all the other athletes, because why aren't you as good as I am?
Right. Trained from the time they were 2.
I mean, I kind of lose my compassion and sympathy for those athletes, because they demand to be there. They didn't earn. Some of them didn't earn that right. They granted they had to be the best in they're the best in their sport, in their category, or for whatever, like gymnastics and shit like that. You have to an overall. There's competitions up until the point before the Olympics where you're the qualifying rounds. I get it, but when you have a person who has the finances and the backing and support from a very young age, you're going to be better because you have the money to funnel into your training versus the kid self-financing, doesn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out with most days.
Mm-hmm.
And they could be as good, but it's like they're not the story that the media is looking for unless it happens to happen.
Correct. And to go to your point, there's a name out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, years ago, the 96 Olympics, who, if I bring this name up now, people go, oh my God, whatever. But came up that same way. Blue collar family, worked his ass off, won the gold in 96, Kurt Angle. And that dude, busted his ass through the high school, through Mount Clarendon College, I believe, and then got picked up by Foxcatcher, which was Dave Schultz and who's the guy that went crazy? DuPont. Yep. Went through that training regime, got his spot on the Olympics, broke his neck. Yeah, broke his neck in one of the qualifiers and won the gold medal, which during his pro wrestling days, he used to, use that as a heel gimmick. I won the gold with a broken freaking neck, and you have the nerve to boo me? I get that. That dude went from, they were, average American Joes like us growing up. That, to me, is the success story. Not, no offense to Larry Bird or Patrick Ewing, who was an immigrant to this country legally. No offense to Magic Johnson or anybody else. They went through those same hardships. None of those people came up rich, but they were already professionals 6, 7, 8, 10 years. Michael Jordan, same thing. Before the Olympics. Kurt Angle's one of those stories. Nancy Kerrigan is one of those stories. The last Olympics I really cared about was the last time it was okay to take a knee as an American, which was Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding. Last time I really gave a shit about the Olympics.
I mean, I watch them because, think about it, when we were kids, we didn't watch it because we wanted to. It was because of lack of options.
Exactly.
It took up that entire network for 3 weeks.
Yep.
And your parents don't want to watch what's on the other networks, whatever network is showing the Olympics is going to be on. So, and my dad was big into watching the gymnastics. He liked, in the winter, he liked watching the target shooting and shit like that, cross country sheep, boom, boom, shooting a gun. So I grew up learning to like those and appreciate the sports that he liked. So out of habit, I'll watch the opening ceremonies, and I'll pick and choose a few events throughout the Olympics. Volleyball, not just because they're hot. Volleyball is probably one of my favorite current Olympic sports.
I can't stand watching volleyball.
I love it. I don't know what it is about it.
I can't stand it. Any kind.
All right.
I loved the game. I played the game in junior high and high school, and I was one of like 25 guys who wanted to start a men's volleyball team, but the kibosh got put down on it because we wanted to play. But the unfortunate part is that season was concurrent with football and wrestling, so the pool of people who would have participated kind of evaporates around those seasons. But I love the game. It's fun. It's a lot of fun to watch. And I get it. It's like I feel the same way about that you do about volleyball. I feel about golf. If you want a sleeping pill on a Sunday afternoon at about 2 p.m., put on fucking golf. Turn it all the way up. You'll be out in 5 seconds.
I won't watch a golf match either. I won't watch golf on TV. I won't watch baseball on TV. I won't watch basketball on TV.
Now, let me ask you this though. You guys, I'm assuming, grew up going to hockey games as a kid.
Oh yeah,
the Whalers and the Bruins. Do you have a hard time as an adult watching hockey on television? Because it's a totally different experience when you're there ringside on ice. I appreciate it more live.
Oh, I absolutely love live hockey.
Oh yeah, well, appreciate it more live, yes, but I will watch a hockey game on TV.
I'm more.
absolutely.
I'll watch it, but it's to me it's not the same. Only because I was spoiled when I was a kid. I went to a lot of hockey, a lot.
I go to a lot of hockey now.
Yeah, but dude, you're talking when I was 13, 14, 15, the 18-year-olds would load up the station wagon. We go to the Whalers.
Fuck yeah.
Every fucking home game. And that was a lot.
Because you could buy a $6 ticket and be on the ice in 4 minutes because Hartford didn't care about the fucking team.
And it was cheap. It was a cheap day out. You get the kids out on a weekend. Cheap, safe, relatively, depending on who you're driving with. So from like ages 12 to like 18, I lived in the hockey arena. So I have a harder time watching it now on TV. Like baseball, I'll catch on the occasion. Usually it's just so fucking boring. Like even live games are boring sometimes, especially when there's nothing going on. But
coming from a guy who lives, breathes, eats, sleeps, shits Bruins hockey, if it's on the television, I may not be staring at it, but it's always in my periphery, listening to it, making sure a couple weeks ago we did this show, and it was during the Bruins game, and I went upstairs, and I was told the Bruins are on TV right now. Here's the score. Here it is. Damn. All right. And I stayed up way longer than I had to. But the point of the matter is, you can't get to every game. We've been priced out of the market. But to Herm's point in regard to the Olympics, do I think Brad Marchand or Tuukka Rask, who's recently retired, or Pasternak or, Ovechkin or whoever should be in the Olympics? Me, I'm kind of on the fringe on that. If you're putting your best out there in any particular country, maybe, yes. But this has always been amateur athletics. It's not, here's our best professionals, try to beat them. Ryan comes in with, last time I gave a shit about the Olympics was 2016. I was in a fantasy football league, and our drafting order was based off of the golf that they had added that year. Wow. All right. I hope you picked good.
That was that then 2016. Wow.
Yeah, they added golf.
Why did I think it was longer ago?
Well, you're old, so.
Nah, yeah. I forget small things. Like, did I put pins on today?
Did you?
Yeah.
Look down.
Yeah,
look down.
I'm looking right at my jeans.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, they kind of frown upon that at work.
Final thoughts. Do we just eradicate? Look, you're given the keys to the kingdom. Here you go, Herm. You're the king of the IOC, the International Olympic Committee. What does Herm do to either make it better or shut it down?
I give them one complete cycle and inform them that it's being shut down.
Meaning?
We do Olympics every 2 years now, right?
Summer every 2, and then the opposite is the winter every 2.
Yes. Right, every 2, but it's 4 in between winter to winter and summer to summer.
Which I like that because it breaks it up.
It breaks it up, and it makes it you get more spots and you get more TV time, and it's more often. But it's great for the viewers. But like, we've got Olympics coming up this year. I would inform them that all athletes that 2026 will be the last Winter Olympics, and 2028 will be the last Summer Olympics.
Wow. All right. Fair enough. Lynch, anything to add?
Well, see, I see we witnessed the change in the Olympics in the 1980s. It started with Bruce Jenner getting the Wheaties endorsement. Then it trickles down to Bruce Jenner. You remember him, right?
I do. He was on the Love Boat.
Yeah. For the artist formerly known as Bruce Jenner. And then Mary Lou Retton in 1984, plastered on the Wheaties cereal box. So those little endorsements started creeping in the mid 70s, but in the 80s is when it really kind of got out of control with basically like product placement. That and like Simone Biles in the gymnastics now is a very sought off person. They endorsements. Simone Biles endorses Mary Kay Cosmetics, or Simone Biles endorses maybe it's fucking tampons.
Listen to you with gimmick schnabbits.
They want that's the kind of person they want to be the face of their new product, or an old product that just needs a little bit of revival because the SKU's not selling a lot. And it's more about who's the new face of this current year's Olympics, instead of let's talk about their athleticism. It's let's talk about if she owns a Prada bag or Louis Vuittons or whatever. It's not, the focus isn't on the sport anymore. To me, it's more about positioning an amateur athlete, positioning themselves for what they're going to do 2 years from retiring from being an Olympian. Like, what's my retirement plan look like? And if the spirit was kind of lost at some point from like the night turn of the 1900s through the 1960s, 70s, when they just lost the spirit. It's not about the sport. It's about clout, showing whose dick is bigger at the end of the 2-3 weeks. How many goals do I have? Yeah, Herm said it. It's about winning, but it's only about winning when it's convenient or beneficial to that particular country or that particular athlete. Because I've seen athletes that just turn it off for the first couple of rounds, and then when they really need those points, they turn it on and actually perform like they should because they're at that level. They play with more heart, and that spirit's gone. It's been long gone. And
amen to that.
It's just my theory. I could be right, could be wrong, probably wrong, but it's all about what's in it for me later, not what I'm fighting for right now. And I think if you're going to have that attitude, it should be 50-50. Not weighted the other way where what I'm going to do 2 years from now is more important.
Understood.
That's my 2 cents.
Understood. And as we've given a lot of athletes and different people a shout out, next week after our fantastical interview, which Herm is going to tell you more about at the back end of the show, we have gained a lot of subscribers on the YouTubes. We're going to read your names out next week. Herm is going to compile a list, hopefully, and we're going to read your names out next week. And if you're a new subscriber, week in, week out, new subscribers will get their name read out right here at the back end of Dysfunction Junction every single week. So we can thank you, the people, for supporting us, the morons, for doing this show absolutely free for you each and every week. And if Herm wants some help next week, he splits the list in half. He does half, I do half. Maybe he splits it in thirds. Lynch does a third. Who cares? Maybe Marshall come back eventually when he's not running from the IRS, but that is what it is.
Man on the run.
Man on the run. But Lynch and I went and saw a concert the other night, and I want Lynch to lead this off because basically it was him that made this whole thing happen. And I got to tell you, bro, I had a great time, much needed for me to let out some aggression through the form of loud music and fun. And I can't thank you enough for that night. I'm very appreciative.
It's one of those things I knew you needed it. And what the hell, man? It's a night out with a bro. So the headliner was Mudvayne, who I've seen several times. The first time I saw them was in 99 or 2000 at Ozfest on the third stage. We're going way back to Great Woods when it was still Great Woods.
Right.
Put on a hell of a show back then. The bass player, Brian Martini, I think his name is one of the best current bass players on the planet. He plays it like a fucking piano and a violin half the time. Just watching him play and how into it he gets is worth it. But before Mudvayne got on the stage, the first opening act was A Killer's Confession.
Fantastic.
During the break, I did a little research, and the lead singer to Killer's Confession was the former lead singer to Mushroomhead. So I'm like, that's why the guy sounds familiar. And as they played through their set, couple songs they played I had heard in the background. I'm like, I know this song. I used to have Sirius XM radio. I don't have it anymore. So I'd have the metal channel or Howard Stern playing in the background. So I would get snippets of these metal bands because I had never heard of them. I thought it was a really tight set. I thought they were, a little gimmicky with the Slipknot-ish masks, but they were bands doing it before Slipknot. So, everybody, I think imitation is definitely a form of flattery, and they were paying homage to that, band that was formed in 1999 or 97 rather,
Right.
and started wearing masks.
The one thing that got me about A Killer's Confession, which gets me about a lot of metal bands that employ this strategy, is the dual drummers. One plays the beat, one plays the fills. You don't have one guy beating the snot out of everything and ending up dying at an early age. They did it so strategically, where you had the one guy on the left where we're looking, our left, stage right, who was playing the fills, and then you had crazy guy over here with the whacked out
Like that
what
wig.
is it, like Street Fighter hair, and he's playing whatever he wants, and then they switch. So Street Fighter guy goes to the left and he starts playing the beat, and the other guy starts playing the fills. It was so precise and it was so awesome. It was so beautiful. This is if you like metal, please go check out A Killer's Confession. They were really, really, really good. My takeaway, best band of the night.
Yeah, to me, second best. It was a surprise. It was a surprising enjoyment factor that I had with them because I didn't know anything about them going in. I didn't do my homework. I didn't even know who was opening for them, and sometimes I like it that way. I don't go in with a preconceived idea of what the show's going to be. I'd rather the show evolve and happen in front of me. Like, okay, cool. These guys are opening. Oh, who's this fucking guy? Never heard of him. Who was next? Next was Kygo the Hero.
Hyro the Hero, yeah.
Hyro the Hero. Hyro. Excuse me. Interesting. Hyro the Hero started as a freestyle rapper, I guess, in the early 2000s, 99-ish maybe. Became popular and then hired a band out of nowhere, a metal band, when he went on the road, and he started doing his raps to metal. They grew on me throughout the set, and it was about a half-hour set. And towards the end, I thought it got better. If we're doing on a scale of 1 to 5, I'd give them 2.5, 2 3/4. They were good. He was interesting, laying down on the floor, rolling around, singing and rapping pretty well. Could actually sing. Actually had a decent singing voice. Showed off some skills, as did the first guys. I mean, and screamo metal bands like that don't get a lot of shit. The singers get a lot of shit because all they do is scream. But if you hear somebody like lead singer from Slipknot, Corey, he has an amazing voice, and he his side project Stone Sour has amazing songs. But these guys can sing. So, like I said, I grow to Hero. Give 2 to 3/4 stars out of 5. I enjoyed it. Wasn't exactly my cup of tea. I like my rap and my metal. Unless you're Ice-T with Cop Killer, I fucking love that album.
I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. If Hyro is the lead singer, I don't know the gimmick behind it. I didn't do much research because the set was decent. My big takeaway is still A Killer's Confession. However, okay, we just got confirmation we are going to have a guest 2 weeks from tonight. I'll get to that in just a minute.
Okay.
Even when I'm working. We'll get to that in just a minute. What I give credit for is 2 things. when people think of metal, they don't think of, you know how much I hate the term African American. You don't think of black people. You think of, if you do, you think of LaJohn from Seven Dust.
Seven Dust.
You think of Living
guy
Color.
from-
You think of Body Count.
Yeah.
There's some others.
Shadows
You think
Fall.
of Shadows Fall, Tom Morello.
Yeah.
You think of others, but this guy, I was so impressed with his energy. I was so impressed with what he put on that stage that night. Again, still not. Look, I'm going to put A Killer's Confession at 1 of the 4 bands we saw. I'm going to put A Killer's Confession at 1. I'd put Hyro the Hero at 3, and we'll leave it there for now because the other 2 spots is going to be a little surprise for everybody. But this guy, whoever the lead singer is, if he's Hyro, if he's not Hyro, he is Hyro. Props to you, kid. You put your ass into this show, and that's what it takes. If I go to see a show and you just got a bunch of guys in flannel clothing going, okay, here's the hit, Jenga Jenga, fuck off. No, I'm not into that. I paid money to see you perform. This guy knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, he was pretty much doing a gymnastics routine throughout the most of the set.
Oh my God.
He was moving. He really never stopped. Like from the time he came out on stage, which we missed because we were out bullshitting out in the hallway there. But from the moment we walked in, he was just boom, 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 sit the fuck still. So yeah, they were decent. Third act, again, first time I.
This was my favorite part of the night when we walked in. I got to say this before Lynch says this. We walked in and we saw the Mudvayne merch gimmick stand, and nobody bought anything. Not me, not Lynch. Not that I could. I'm fucking macaroni and cheese broke. But we saw a littler merch stand off to the left, and it's like, wow, they're here. And then some girl behind us walked by and goes, oh, are they here tonight? And it took everything I had not to say, no, they just sell their merch to like
Here, get rid of this shit while you're at the show.
Right here. We got all this shit. We'd like you to sell it, Mudvayne, at your show. Go ahead, Lynch.
So third act, POD, Payable on Death. Started in like 96, 97. Been the same 4 members of the band since the beginning. I saw them again, Ozfest 99, third stage.
This was my first time.
From what I remember from 99, I liked them. Their earlier stuff was a little more edgy. Then they kind of got radio friendly, as there's a ton of songs you've heard and been in soundtracks to movies. Click, click, boom, it being their biggest.
Click, click,
hit.
boom, Youth of a Nation, Alive. I was losing my shit, and the first thing I said to you was, "They're still around."
Yeah, but the comment you made, oh, they're going to play their 9 hits.
No, the hits.
But that's where it got interesting, is because they busted out some of their newer stuff from their new album they just released, and
it wasn't bad.
Good.
Look, Ryan Springer's in the comment section says POD is the shit. So Ryan, you missed a hell of a show, bro.
It was good musically. They're always tight. They were the beginning of their set. They had to restart a song because the drummer and the bass player were way the fuck apart on their time. One was on the down, one was on the up. So they restarted the song. It was a rough start, but overall, I enjoyed them. I've always been a POD fan. It was a nice surprise that they were on the bill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't disappointed at all with their set. What was your takeaway from POD?
Live for the first time ever. It was nice to hear the music, and I didn't know it was all 4 guys that are still together. It was nice to hear the hits, all 4 of them. And then the 4 songs they sprinkled in. They got a new record coming out, and if you weren't there, they pimped it every other fucking song, which good for them. I haven't heard it yet. I'm going to download it on iTunes. I'm going to listen to it. But it brought me back 25 years to Alive, Click Click Boom, or not Click Click Boom. Here Comes the Boom. Click Click Boom was Saliva. Alive, Here Comes the Boom. What was the other one? Youth of a Nation. Oh my Lord. When that song played, I could not stop bouncing. That was fucking fantastic. Great band live. I did not know how good they'd be live because I'd never seen them. And I thought they had faded away with the rap rock gimmick of the early to mid 2000s. But what a fantastic show. And I got to give credit to their drummer. Wow, no wasted motion. That dude was killing it.
Yeah, he has perfected what I call economy of motion. There isn't a wasted fucking movement on him. He's a very, very underrated drummer.
What I liked about him the most was, if you noticed, Chris, when he was doing his thing, he would do the double cymbal, but he would go up on one and down on the other, which I call the Eric Singer move.
Yeah. And that's impressive. Where you're on beat in time, underneath and on top. That's hard. Gravity drops. I don't know if you know what that is, but when you drop your snare stick and you just let gravity take it over, then you give it a little diddle on the back end. He's good at that. It's like that Italian guy, the Serbiano guy, the really amazing drummer who isn't a real drummer on YouTube. But anyway, very good band. I loved them in '99 when I first, because I'd never heard of them before Ozfest. I was awakened to so many good bands in Ozfest, and that could be an episode by itself. Because I think culturally to metal, Ozfest was a very important thing to happen.
I'll tell you, I'll go one deeper. Loca Bazooka that they used to do at the Worcester Airfield was how I discovered Ra, which is how I discovered Brand New Sin. A lot of other bands that I can't think of right now, but I was just talking with Joe from Brand New Sin. I want to bring Joe on the show somehow, some way. He's doing such great work now, doing acoustic piano type things around upstate New York.
Nice.
But Brand New Sin, when I saw Brand New Sin, I was like, motherfucker, these guys got it. And I've introduced them to other people. I got to talk with them for, good God, about an hour. Myself and Jim Lollimer.
I don't know if I know any of their songs. I'd have to look.
Remind me later. I'll throw you a couple of good songs. And dude, they're chunky, they're heavy, they have a bluesy feel. If you're a wrestling fan, they did the entrance music for the Big Show. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It's thick, it's chunky, it's got groove, it's got rhythm, and it's not something that someone would listen to and go, oh, well, I can't get into that. You find yourself tapping your foot. I remember years ago being in Herm's car, and I hated KMFDM. Absolutely hated KMFDM. But we're going this far back, the original Bad Boys soundtrack, where KMFDM did, I can't remember the name of the song. All I remember is Sister Salvation. Lots of scratching.
I love that song.
Lots of heavy riff. Was it Juke Joint Jezebel? Am I doing this right, Herm?
Yeah.
He's nodding.
That's the right song.
I fell in love, and then a year later, when they put out their next record, I went out and bought it. All you have to do is give me one piece. Just give me that worm, and that I'm going to bite your hook, and I'm in. It doesn't matter.
Just myself, Ozfest. I started going to Ozfest in '99. Megan bought tickets. Said, "Guess what? We're going to this thing up in Massachusetts called Ozfest." I'm like, "All right, Ozzy's there. I'm in." Ozfest alone, Disturbed, Slipknot, Kitty, Cradle of Filth, Dimmu Borgir. I already said Disturbed.
Yep.
I already said Disturbed.
Disturbed was at Loca Bazooka too.
My first real live introduction was to Pantera. I had never seen them live before '99, and they were fucking phenomenal. Then you have your lesser bands who were playing at the time. They had 4 stages. Ozfest was that big in the late '90s. It was started in '97. I went to '99, so Ozfest 3, whatever. So many local bands. Hatebreed was at Ozfest. I had never heard of Hatebreed. They're right at Jamie Joster,
They
right out
still
of
suck.
right out of Hartford. I don't mind them.
They still
I
suck.
tolerate them. Rage Against the Machine, who I never listened to. I don't like them politically. They're okay as a band, but to me they
do
kind of start
political
sounding
music?
repetitive.
You're surprised by this?
They do, wait,
Wait.
they do political music?
Yeah, the shit
They're
they used to sing about is the same thing that they are currently espousing, which makes them posers.
Yeah, they're
No,
raging
just
against
means
themselves.
I love you for that, Herm.
just means they're over 30 now.
Yeah,
I love
but
you
so
for that,
many,
Herm. Thank you.
but so many Stained I saw at this is all at the first Ozfest I saw. So many fucking bands. I was like, wow, my opens your ears to fucking.
I want to meet that
different-
girl.
Which one?
You want to what?
I want to meet that girl.
What girl?
The girl that made Aaron Lewis write all those Stained songs.
Oh shit! Yes.
I don't know if it was just one girl.
Just saying, like, I want to meet that girl, bro. I'm just
Which
saying.
leads me to another guest I want to bring on the show at some point. Had her on the old podcast, Chris and the guy that fucked everybody's girlfriend. Britt Lightning, who is a longtime friend of mine, 20 years running, used to play in going back to Local Bazooka. She gave Jim and I tickets to go see Jaded, which was her band back then. Now she's playing in Vixen, touring the world, having the best time of her life. Good on her. But that's how I got to Local Bazooka and seeing a lot of these bands that if it wasn't for that festival, would have never heard of before.
But it was nice to see the two bands that I had seen at my very first Ozfest, POD and Mudvayne, were still good. Mudvayne, I think Mudvayne was to me the best of the night, only because I know their catalog really, really well. It's really tough. POD was like, I don't know. I don't know if is a second place. I think to me they were equally as satisfying and good. I think the edge is given to Mudvayne because he fucking impressed me so much with how he held out the screams at the end of some of those songs. I was like, how? And then to come right back up, talk like his normal, sing when he's singing in his normal voice, singing like fucking normal, sounding good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he has a tutorial about how he sings on YouTube. It's pretty fucking fascinating.
I mean, going into that show, I wasn't, it took me, I took 3 days to listen to the Mudvayne catalog and to try to get myself familiarized because I never listened to Mudvayne outside of Stand in the Corner and Scream With Me. And maybe there was one other song that used to play on CCC all the time. Mythical Place for You in Middle America. WCCC was the best rock station until it was bought by K-Love, which can go suck my dick sideways. Having said that, Mistress Carrie will always be
my favorite.
And Clonk. Oh my God, she's so gorgeous. Anyway, A Killer's Confession, Mudvayne. I'll put High Road the Hero at third. POD, I wasn't expecting, so they kind of they're kind of going to bring up the rear on my take on that show this weekend. Yeah.
I was impressed. I was happy to see these bands I saw 25 years ago for the first time in my life, half my life ago. And they still got it. They're still kicking it. POD and Mudvayne are all original members. They've had no
except Saturday Night.
Except Saturday Night. Okay. Oh yes, honorable mention there. The lead guitarist for Mudvayne had an emergency and had to go back home, and they had almost canceled that show. But Last Minute Jones, the backup guy, guitarist, the guitar tech stepped in because the guitar techs know all their songs. They hear him, watch them, listen to him play those songs every fucking night, and they tune the guitars. And guess what they play when they tune up the guitars and make sure it's perfect? They play their songs. He kicked fucking ass. You couldn't tell it wasn't a normal guitarist. He shredded.
And he painted himself up. He did the whole gimmick.
he did the whole gimmick, and he stepped up at the last minute, and they gave him like 2-3 days to you got it, because that was a Showtime decision. I found out that if he wasn't quite ready, they were going to say sorry. Like a couple hours before the show. But I'm glad he pitched in, knocked it out of the fucking park. This was the last show of this leg of the tour. They picked back up again in mid-August. I think in the Midwest, working their way up and down east and west in that area. I mean, so far, everything I've read since we've been to the show, it's getting rave reviews, setting some record attendance. That's a very small venue for them to play.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised. And Herm, maybe you can help me here. When you go to a metal show, you expect kind of maybe an open area where the kids, and I say the kids because let's be honest, I'll throw myself in the pit every now and again. This is a place, 5,000 seats, where it had no pit. It was all seats. They had maybe the 15 feet between the last set of seats in the front to the stage, where one of the bands said, "Come up front and do this and slap my hand and do the." There's no pit area.
Right.
There was no place for kids to get out their aggression, which is, for me, at a metal show, get out there, get in the pit. I don't know what kind of shows you've been to, Herm. And that's why I'm asking.
Well, I mean,
is it weird to have no pit area at a metal show?
Where was the show?
At the Premier Theater, formerly the MGM Grand at Foxwoods.
Yeah, that's that. Welcome to insurance issues. Have a good day.
Yeah, I got that part. But even at when Lynch and I a year ago went and saw Anthrax at Mohegan Sun, the first 15 rows of seats were removed. That was all GA, general admission, for those of you not paying attention. And they had like a mini pit. And Lynch and I were going, oh, they're just running around in a circle. That's not a pit. We should go down there. But then again, we have bad hips and bad knees and bad shoulders. We're not going down there. At least you had a pit area. I found it weird to have a metal show at a place where everybody has a proper seat. That's me. I don't know.
It's not 1987, bro.
Yeah, I know, dude. Stop it. You're my daughter with a beard right now. That's all you are.
Saying it's not 1987.
I want to punch you in the dick.
It's all right. I'm just saying. You could do that
Ryan,
in 1987.
Ryan, in the comment section, the only show I've ever been to was at Mohegan Sun, and I saw Dropkick Murphys, and there was definitely a mosh pit.
Fuck yeah.
It all depends on the show. Dropkick Murphys, it's a given, and I think it's probably in their contract writer that there will be
a lot of it. That's all. It's no open space. A lot of it comes down to who's insuring the fucking event.
If the act is bearing the insurance, they're gonna do whatever the fucking act wants. And I know for a fact that Dropkick Murphys has that in their rider that we will insure the venue for the day.
Amen. I went to Anthrax in 2011, 2 weeks before I had my heart attack, at the Orpheum in Boston. Mm-hmm. It was Anthrax. Oh, fuck. At the Orifice, yes.
That's what I always called it. It's the Orifice.
I know. That's what I was kind of sad that you were not quicker on the draw. Because I went to shows like, oh, hey, Chris, where are you going tonight? Going to see Judas Priest at the Orpheum. Oh, the Orifice.
The Orifice.
I went to that show.
The Hole.
Tell the sphincter I said hello.
You ever been there? The Hole.
Yeah, basically, it's at the end of this alley. If you've ever been to the Theater District in Boston, it's at the end of this alley. It is a fantastic venue, no doubt about it. As soon as Anthrax comes on, I am in the pit. I am doing my thing, and my glasses broke. Grab them out of the air, put them back together, kind of, with a little, spit and whatever. The guy at the bar had super glue. Put them back together till I got home, and then 8 days later, I had a heart attack. So, fuck it. Which was my cue not to get in the pit anymore. Speaking of not getting in the pit, who wants to take a helicopter ride?
For real?
Not the butcher of Tehran. Yeah, not the butcher of Tehran. So Herm brought this up,
Do we?
and I want to kind of
First of all,
yes.
what do we think really happened?
I think
Because
something was flying.
There's certainly.
I think
not,
there was a little object about this big that's attached to another item about this big that like somebody threw at them and it hit it.
I mean, like,
come on.
I mean that's not us. But I mean, literally, do we? I mean, they will never say. But first of all, it just up and crashed. We've heard nothing. There is nothing. There's no reason why. It's
there is nothing. Absolutely no details.
No details at all. And the
nothing.
first thing you'd want to say was, it wasn't it was a mechanical failure. There's a million
if that were France, if that were England, if that were Poland, that shit would be 24/7 for the next 2 weeks until it was solved. Cover to cover, ass to elbow.
Yeah, and nobody's really giving a shit about it. It just feels like somebody just took his ass the fuck out.
Those things they call about like black ops. That's blacker than black ops.
Yeah, but that's like double.
That's like triple word score black ops.
I don't think any of that was us. I'm going to be honest.
No. I'm not saying us.
To do with that, but there is something. There is something definitely.
Something smells in Denmark.
I was just going to say something is fishy in Denmark.
I've got my thoughts on this. I'm going to give you guys a minute. I have to run upstairs real quick. The cat needs food. I'll be right back.
Heard.
All right.
I mean, he's fine. Everything's good. Iran is pissed. Iran is mad at everybody. He pulled that little maneuver with sending a rocket or two over. I don't know, man. I just think it's really fucking convenient. He just had a helicopter crash.
I'm not saying this country had anything to do with that.
Oh no, absolutely.
That's what I mean.
Somebody has something to do with it. That was no fucking accident.
Ryan, apparently I live under a rock. What happened? So the president of Iran, his helicopter magically crashed out of the sky 2 days ago.
No reason. There's 2 days ago. There's been no talk of an investigation.
Absolutely zero
details. There's been
absolutely zero details coming out in the press, whether social media, real press on the line, on the television. Nothing.
I mean, there isn't even anybody throwing conspiracy theory.
You can't spin that any other way.
I don't like. I'm just saying.
Honestly, you can't spin that any other way. Like I said, if it were any other fucking country besides, a Middle Eastern country, that should be covered all day long until it was solved. No mention of mechanical failure. No mention of human error. Nothing. So what does that lead you to believe? Something took that out.
That leaves,
and it's very convenient that
did something to do something.
It's very convenient that about a month ago, Iran decided to lob a couple missiles over Israel's way, which was already immediately taken down by the IDF air bullshit they got there to take shit out of the sky. A month and a half later, Iran's president did.
Well, did you see this?
And Netanyahu has been very boisterous the last week or so and talking a lot.
The ICC is filing charges against him.
I saw that on last night's news. It could have been an EMP, Brian. That would definitely take a helicopter out of the sky. EMP is electromagnetic pulse grenade. That anything electronic or relies on power, it kills the power momentarily with such a electromagnetic force that it disrupts all ions around it. So it only happens for a split second.
Yeah.
But what happens when you shut your computer when your computer goes down, when you go to restart it? It takes a little time for that to boot up. And when you do that to an aircraft or like a weapon of war, the thing's got to boot back up. And guess what? It takes time to boot back up. And by the time it's a 16th of the way booted, that bird or helicopter is in the ground because it
Yeah,
once you
but
go
that's
manual.
that's not that depends too, because you can auto rotate. So you
Yeah,
can
but the
auto
problem with a
rotation is not as hard as everybody thinks it is.
yeah, but the problem with a helicopter is all it takes is one little blip variable before it goes into a manual situation, and then it's a complete. Oh, a pebble becomes a boulder really quickly in a
No,
helicopter.
I understand that, but they've all got cable. They all have cable backup systems for that reason. So,
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's just a matter of
you've got to believe that somebody flying for a president knows how to deal with an auto rotate situation.
absolutely. But
The
it could
weather
have been an
report. Go ahead, please.
It could have been an EMP, but I'm thinking more of a projectile.
The weather report out of that area that day, which was reported by Al Jazeera, who is probably one of the two news outlets I actually put any stock into, had heavy fog, light rain. So if you're flying a helicopter in heavy fog, which if Stevie Ray Vaughan were here, he would tell you that that's bad for business. You don't want to fly in heavy fog. You wait till the fog dissipates.
Well, in Stevie's time, it was bad.
Even
Today,
now,
Nowadays,
today
it doesn't matter.
Today, fog doesn't mean shit.
But you're talking about Iran. They don't necessarily have the top-notch equipment. Even in war, they don't have the most top-notch equipment. They have what they think is top-notch equipment. I don't know where they're getting their helicopters from, nor do I care. It's Iran. I really don't give a fuck. But
they're using our technology. I'm just going to put that out there. They're using American technology. It's 20 years behind what we have currently, but it's good enough. 20 years ago, you could still fly through. You could fly blind with the type of radar they have now. It sees for you, and that was going back 20, 25 years.
But can it see everything?
He was in a Bell 212 twin-engine civilian version of the venerable Huey UH-1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so he was in a modified. That's what they use for dignitaries. They use a souped-up Huey. It's a little bigger. It carries more people, and it has a better nav system than. It's not the economy model, is what I'm saying. It's more like, is it a Ford Explorer or is it a Land Rover? You're going. It's a Land Rover.
Ryan in the comment section brings up Kobe died the same way, heavy fog. Are we really gonna, split hairs here as far as, yes, both dignitaries, I dare say more people know who Kobe Bryant is than the president of Iran. But, are we really going to split hairs and say this can't happen in 2024? Or when Kobe happened, I want to say it was 2020. And I'm only doing my math because Joe, I don't like to name drop, but I'm going to name drop. Joe Laurinaitis was still alive, World War Animal. He was in Connecticut for the Royal Rumble at Hooters in Newington, and the plan was to go up and have dinner with him, which I did. And that day was the day.
January 26, 2020.
Thank you.
Calabasas, California.
That was the night I had dinner with Joe Laurinaitis, Road Warrior Animal, friend of mine, miss him, love him. I know for 12-year-old Chris, that's a huge thing. 4 years ago, for 47-year-old Chris was like, "Oh, Joe's coming to town. Let's just go have dinner, and have a good time." But that was the day that Kobe died, and again, heavy fog. You can't lean on technology for everything. The pilot or pilots, plural, have to be able to account for certain things. And do I care that the president of Iran is dead? Fuck no. What is this going to mean? And what Herm brought up was, what does this mean to the current situation going on in the Middle East between Iran, who is basically, let's be honest, the heavy arm of Hamas, and what's going on at the Gaza Strip? What does that mean?
Kobe died. Kobe didn't die heavy fog. Kobe died sudden stop.
Yeah, it's not the fall that kills you.
It's a sudden stop at the end.
Thank you, Bobby Heenan.
Kobe was also doing 184 miles an hour with a 4,000 foot per minute descent from a much higher altitude when that helicopter crashed. It was
Somebody did some homework.
Yes, sir.
Oh wow, Herm.
It was a Sikorsky S-76 actually.
Herm.
Oh,
I don't say this to you too often, but I'm gonna say it to you today. Sometimes I like it when you're particular. Other times I want to kick you in the dick.
Attention to detail, man. That's it.
Bingo.
People look for that shit.
Exactly. Do I care? Do any of us care that the president of Iran is dead? No. Fuck no.
No.
Do we care that the minister of defense of Iran is dead? Fuck no.
No, I'm curious what this does about the situation. I am concerned about what asshole is replacing this asshole.
That's my biggest concern as well. And
in
also
situation. Now we have to deal with some unfucking known.
And now it's what implications it has worldwide. Because some other asshole is going to start puffing his chest, knowing that Iran is without a leader, and do something else fucked up.
Right. You know what I mean? Like,
in the name of peace, or what they want to call it.
I was just about to say, in the name of ...
Israel, other than Israel, who hasn't Iran been fighting with, but who's been their major opposer other than Israel?
Yeah, good question.
I mean, like, I don't know who they fuck with.
Well, you got to look at the bordering.
Iran?
Maybe like who else
you got to look
with other than Israel. I'm
not
being an asshole, but like who?
No, I got you.
Geographic. You got to look at the geography of the area too. But it's not necessarily that Israel that takes the brunt of Iran's bullshit, but it's the neighboring bordering countries as well, because they have to. No, these fucking assholes are here now. We got to tighten up defense. Come on, boys. Come on, Harry. Ahmed, let's go.
Who's closer to home and easier to smack around a little?
Yeah.
You know what scares me?
Because somebody new's coming in.
Right. You know what scares me?
What's that?
This Saturday, if you are a wrestling fan.
Nah, nobody wants to fuck with India, Ryan. There's 7 billion people in that country, and whether they have guns or not, they will overrun you like fucking ants.
India's safe.
It's
this
like
Saturday,
like brown China over there.
Basically, this Saturday in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Whether you're a wrestling fan or not, and I don't care. WWE is running a show in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, which will play at about 11 a.m. noon here, which is 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock there. Tensions being what they are, forget everything you ever heard back in the day. Let's think about this. You have easily a crew of 500 Americans that are in the middle of this conflict area, putting on a show for the locals. They're in Saudi Arabia. It's going to be live on Peacock. It's going to be live on pay-per-view, if that's still even a thing. What better spot? Come on. This is why I've always been opposed to, when NASCAR went and ran in Japan, when the Japan-US relations were not at their greatest. Why would you do this? Why would you put yourself in harm's way?
I don't know. I mean, everybody's fighting for something, right? I mean, I wouldn't put it past China to do something to shake the cage at Iran.
China's not that stupid, because you got Japan right over there, who's an ally of the U.S. You have, not too far from there, you have India, who's an ally of the U.S. China's in a really interesting position where you have 3 different sides to your country that will come in and fuck you up if you try some shit.
Yeah, but I mean,
I got you.
I get it politically, and for the ramifications like that you're implying, but they're fucking crazy, dude. They are fucking tapped. I mean, he's just as crazy as North Korea. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It's just that he's quiet about it. North Korea has no shame about it. He's just as fucking scary. He's another one that you should be very, very afraid of. I mean, the U.S. has this relationship with China because they fund us fucking financially consistently. Oh, we're out of money. Hey, just call Xinjiang Bank and they'll pipe over $2 billion to us and fuck our economy up. Thank you, China. But who else in the world, and what implications is that going to have for us? Or is there something that's going to start skirmishing out in the Middle East in another country just because somebody thinks they can do it, and then we have to send troops over? I mean, are we repeating history now again with the Iraq invasion of the 2000s? Maybe,
quite possible.
Maybe not. I'm leaning hopefully towards not, because that's been 20 years since that happened. And every year, every 20 years, 20, 30 years, shit just happens all over again.
Sure.
The gas crisis of the 70s, the gas crisis of the 2008s and 2009s during Obama's administration. It's just cyclical.
Yeah, $4.35 a gallon was not fun.
Well, and here's Biden running his fucking chops today. Oh, I'm going to release 1 billion gallons from the reserves out to the U.S. Yeah, to drive gas prices down.
Where was that 3 years ago? You fucking
to drive gas prices down after Memorial Day. They're already going to be at over $4 tomorrow a gallon. I guarantee you, at the pump, most places in Connecticut will be at least like $4.05 a fucking gallon, and then at Memorial Day it'll be $4.45. And then, thanks, Joe. Thanks, Grampy Joe. You just brought it down from $4.35. We're back down to $4. Thanks for your fucking $1 billion. You're gonna buy votes by fucking releasing oil. Go fuck yourself.
You can't. You live in Connecticut, my friend, and you can't bitch and moan about that because it's your own fucking state that makes your gas prices that high.
Because they're still we're still paying a fucking tax from the gas embargo of the 70s, the early 70s, not the second one in 77. We're talking from 71 to 73.
Your gas
we're still paying a 50 fucking cent tax.
Your gas prices aren't high because of Joe. Your gas prices are high because of Uncle Ned.
Uncle Ned 80%. Uncle Ned 80%, Sleepy Joe 20%. That's where I'm going to go with that.
How many of these fucking governors for Connecticut have written their campaign on that part of that platform? We're going to get rid of the gas taxes.
Every goddamn one of them. How's that work?
Bullshit you are. For the 51 years that I've been alive and about 41 that I can remember.
Let's go back to Weicker when it was only supposed to be 3 years for an income tax to settle it.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on.
And now
state. I lived there. Unfortunately, it's the state. And as soon as you get the fuck out of there, you're like, dude, all that dude did was fuck me in the ass.
I did that once and I came right back. This week.
You know why? Because gas is up to $3.20 because it's fucking summer.
I dream of $3.20. I do. I really do. And you're right. You're absolutely right.
$3.
You're absolutely right. It is Connecticut's fault that we're at where we're at with our economy.
I hate to admit it. It's not.
And I've been preaching this
for that state.
I tried that. God, Chris, please.
I've been preaching this for 20 fucking years. Get rid of the fucking embargo tax that we're still paying from 1971 to 1974, and then again in 1977 to 79. When it was like an artificial gas shortage, just like the first one was.
Correct.
Just get rid of that. And now towns, municipalities in the state of Connecticut are romancing the idea of getting rid of property taxes on vehicles. Finally, I paid my sales tax at the time of purchase. I understand the concept behind putting a tax rate on your vehicle. I know where the money goes, where it's supposed to go, to the roads, maintenance and upkeep, infrastructure. I get it. But if you would spend your other money smartly, you could get rid of those fucking property taxes every year and allocate the funds where you should originally have allocated them to support said programs. We get
Well,
federal
especially
fucking we
if
get
they
federal
support
fucking money every
you
year in
where-
Connecticut.
especially like you, where the fucking mill rate's 42.
Exactly. Why? Because we were mismanaged for
42.
40 fucking years.
I can't even imagine the taxes on my house right now at 42. Holy Christ!
Nope, not even close.
Holy
Yeah,
Christ!
you would shit your pants. Herm, you would.
No,
shit
you and I
your-
did. You and I talked about it. Like
Yeah,
what we
it's
already
fucked.
discussed home values, and I'm $1,400 a year.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. It's fucking scary.
My house taxes are less than your car taxes.
There it is.
So
Why rent?
I mean, it mismanaged for the last 40 fucking years, and just relying on these band-aids that we did from recovering from recovering from World War II, because World War II was really, really tough on Connecticut. We housed them. We temporarily housed them. We influx of people coming into Groton, the area, to work at Electric Boat, because during war we need war machines. So Connecticut really took a huge hit, and then you have Sikorsky and all those other Pratt Whitney and throughout the other part of the state. We're a very important wartime state. So these we were coming out of the 70s into the 80s when they say, "Oh, we'll just do a property tax for a couple of years." What happened?
Yeah,
You became
Yeah, a couple
reliant on
years.
that money. You became reliant on that money. It's like spending your bonus before you get it.
And the
Guess
and
what?
the
You
citizenship
may not get it.
accustomed to paying it.
A bonus is just that. It's a bonus. It is an addition to your normal salary.
Mm-hmm.
You could say if the verbiage is with potential bonuses, that bonus can be pulled away at the last fucking minute. Guess what? We're broke. We need money over here. Bye bonus.
Yeah, basically.
Like they do that here, but it's out of our Tabor money. So it's
Yeah.
they don't up taxes or change taxes anywhere. It literally, like when they need it, it just comes out of that money. So instead of every tax citizen that files for state income tax getting a $900 check back this year, we're all getting $600 checks back because they use some of the money to handle some shit, and they're only giving back $600 to every taxpayer of the money they collected.
Here's a couple key points of why I like that
Connecticut
system.
would fucking lose their mind at that concept.
It's
Giving money
transparent.
back.
It's transparent. You know exactly every step of the process, and there's no gotcha at the fucking end because they're
Like
upfront
there's a
about
law
it.
on the books. It's the taxpayer's bill of rights.
Yeah.
Basically, yes.
They don't use the money they collect for what they proposed budget is. Whatever's left over, it gets distributed back to the taxpayers.
It's not. It doesn't go in a slush fund or the piggy bank fund.
No, they already account for the slush fund in the budget.
So that's a well-run state or well-run town, whatever municipality, whatever you want to fucking call them. That's what a well-run state.
Where
Yeah.
our entire state does free lunch to every child in the state. They do free lunch to every child in the state, and they do free lunch at the schools to every child in the state, availability through the summer.
That's
good.
Fucking fantastic. See, that's a well-run state. That's a state that's very transparent and clear with their how they spend their money.
Taxes have gone down twice since I've lived here.
And that is usually unheard of in a state. All right. The other 40 some odd states follow Colorado's lead.
Yes.
Hit your wagon to that fucking trolley, please.
Our gay married governor thinks we should be able to use guns to protect our weed plants that grow in the backyard. There it is.
Bingo.
That's what I want to
look into. Your congresswoman is my future ex-wife.
Ooh, that's a fucking
smoke show.
Don't care. Listen, I'm gonna let Herm talk to you about next week's guests, plural, and I have confirmation for the week after. We're gonna talk more about the Olympics, and this is gonna be a surprise to these guys because I've been working the phone as I record, I'm multitask Jones. Herm, what do we got going on next week?
Next week we have Michael Pickle and Kelsey Livingood from Michael's new soon to be released movie called The Dead Place. Independent film. He is the writer and the director. There's a lot of practical effects in their movies. Their budgets aren't giant for crazy digital. So most of their effects are old school style practical. And he'll be here next week to discuss the making of the movie and where his ideas came from and what his message about the movie is and all of that. And Kelsey is a rather accomplished actress. She's also known in the horror industry as Mischief the Clown. So she's been in some pretty well-known movies.
She's kind of hot too.
Yeah, she's a good-looking lady. And
Very good looking.
and we'll also talk about some of the other members of the cast, which are well known. One of the members of the cast is, I believe his name is Dan Thornton. Is it Lynch? Is that who it is? It's Dan Thornton, right?
Yeah.
He played Art the Clown in Terrifier. For anybody out there that knows that movie, that was some pretty gory shit. So
I gotta look this stuff up this week.
There's another lady in the movie. She played a role as Freddy's mother in another movie, in one of the Freddy movies. So one of the Nightmare movies. So I'm thinking it should be a good show.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to it
this week and posting, and I'll be passing the trailer around to you guys here to watch.
Yes.
So that's May 28th, 6:00, right here on Dysfunction Junction. But confirmation just came through in the last 20 minutes. Tuesday, June 4th. We're gonna expand our Olympic discussion with my good friend, a wonderful, badass Taekwondo, just fucking killer, and a very good friend of mine, and dare I mention, my future ex-wife, Mandy Maloon, will join us on June 4th, Tuesday night, to discuss a little bit more about the Olympics, the training, the this, the that, and how someone from low means can make it to the top level. I tagged her in the show. I sent her the show, I should say. And she's watching. She go and I texted her and I said, "You want to get in on this conversation?" She goes, "Not tonight." I'm like, "How's 2 weeks from now?" I'm in. Mandy was on the old show back in the day. I'm not going to mention the name because fuck that guy. But Mandy is a wonderful human being. If we don't talk once a month, then I'm not doing my job right. She is fantastic, and she's going to tell you what it takes to be an Olympic athlete from what we think an Olympic athlete should be. And we might dive into the Sports Illustrated gimmick from 2017 if that comes up. But eventually, Mandy and I are going to get married, and you're all going to be jealous as hell because she's a smoke show. She's hotter than shit.
Very cool.
Lynch, do you remember that show from back in the day?
Which one?
The Mandy Maloon show.
Wow. That was pre me guest hosting.
No, it was probably in the middle. You probably did a couple of spots in between.
Maybe because I was thinking it was either just prior or during. I think I remember that one. I'll
send both of you guys a link. You have 2 weeks to get your shit together. I'm not disparaging anybody's opinion, especially yours, Herm, because I know what you said made all the sense in the world, and especially to me. If I admit that, you know you got something good. But I really wanted to get an outside opinion, and Mandy's going to bring that in. She got disqualified from Olympics, and she's going to tell that story when she comes on the show in 2 weeks. Next week, we have Michael Pickle, Kelsey Livingood. 2 weeks from now, we have Mandy Balloon. The summer of fun is about to begin, and I'm going to start digging for guests because I want this to be a summer of fun for Dysfunction Junction. Whether it's, dude, if I have to reach out to old guests, old friends, and say, "You want a part of this?" Let's see what they do.
Yeah,
but
fuck it. Why not? We got nothing to lose, brother.
I just want to say, Herm, this was your show, so thank you very much for the topics.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was pretty cool.
So next week we have Michael Pickle and Kelsey Livingood. 2 weeks from now we have Mandy Balloon. Tune into the Speedway review tomorrow night and hear about how Herm and I can fix the All-Star race. We talked about it off air, then we came on air. Herm and I can fix the All-Star race. We can fix it. But we can't do it without you. Join us on YouTube. If you join YouTube, we will start shouting your names out next week. All of our subscribers, mash that button. Subscribe to the show. Tell us you love us. And
I know I get notified we get a subscriber. I'm not sure yet if I get told exactly who it is.
Yeah.
If we can find it, we'll shout your name out.
I'll see what I can come up with, but I just want to
subscribe.
I want to be transparent.
If we can find out who you are, we will shout you out week after week after week. For the rest of you out there, have a great night. And if you're Lynch, shave that beard.
Fuck you.
Thank you.
Dude. Yeah. Yay, fireworks!
Do it again.
Smooth, yeah.